Nintendo recently revealed that Super Nintendo Land is getting a Donkey Kong Country edition to it. Right, they had a complete rollout. I think it's supposed to launch in Japan next month, and then it will be coming to America sometime in spring. And one thing that I
Genius.
kept thinking, it is right. I'm like, it's a great way to expand your park. It makes all the sense in the world. But every time I see something like that, I keep thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, why do y'all do everything else but give Donkey Kong a video game? I don't understand. So I wanted to ask you guys, like, is it just something now where, like, do we just accept the fact that Donkey Kong is in the MCU, right? The Mario Cinematic Universe, and he's just no longer a
I think
standalone character?
nah, he had a good run, man. I mean, the reason why I say this is it's like Kirby. He has a presence. He just hasn't had the backing like a Mario Odyssey or a Zelda. But he has a presence. I mean, they did the DS versions of the remakes, but I don't know if you guys ever played the Donkey Kong Jungle Beat.
I haven't.
Yeah, see that right there, that was a game that I didn't expect to be that fire. You
Mm,
basically played no, Nintendo had the little drum beats. That's a Donkey Kong game. That was a like a quick time Donkey Kong game, but you would play with drums and beats. To me, that's how you do a Donkey Kong game. Donkey Kong should be like treated like a an adventure beat 'em up because the
mm.
bosses, the lore that they were having, some of the character designs. If we can, if you know, if you could get, if you ever get a chance to get to it, you'll see some of the character designs for the enemies that he had to fight up against.
Oh yeah,
Man,
I'm a like
um,
again Donkey Kong 64, Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3. Like I'm a fan of the Donkey Kong IP, and I'm
yeah,
like
yeah,
I just like that's been my thing of like you're pointing out a game that you enjoyed. People are saying that the last game that they put out, I think Donkey Kong was like Tropical Freeze, apparently is really good. So it's like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not that he doesn't have
It's getting,
a base to pull from. It's just like why don't you guys put out? They've remastered stuff, but
I
yeah,
hmm,
I believe it's due to the demand of the industry. I think they want something that they can easily flip on a yearly basis because we've seen, like, all right, Nintendo's biggest powerhouse was Pokemon, and
hmm,
Pokemon had a yearly release for many things, many things around the holiday season. Mario is this continuous character that you could put him in anything. Mario football, Mario soccer, Mario party, Mario Kart 25.
hmm,
And it's something that has like a very vast return. I kind of feel like Donkey Kong. It's a very deep story. It kind of gives me Donkey Kong always gave me like their own version of, I would say, Crash Bandicoot, that adventure quirkiness type of adventure. But then that this is not something that they're going to shove down your throats every year. Now, I do feel like they do need to have more faith in the IP
hmm.
of what do you want to do with this. The movie was a good touch. That was a good touch. I tell people that was a great, I would say, almost like introduction, but also reintroduction into Donkey
Hmm.
Kong. So now the demand is there. So we want his own game. Jory just mentioned a very great game like Jungle Beat. I remember that game. That would make an excellent movie.
Mm.
I really would, because you already understand where
yeah.
they're going with this. It's a movie universe, and it's just even just like how what Joey said, like it's like Kirby, like you feel its presence, but it's something that you can't throw at us constantly. Even the same thing with, I would say, Kirby or Zelda,
Hey, listen.
even Metroid. Like these are like very key characters, a part of the Nintendo franchise, but they cannot be washed, rinsed, and repeat too much.
I understand that. It just feels like, to your point, Tim, about where like throwing Mario into different things. Like most times in all the games you listed, literally Donkey Kong is usually a playable character. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing. It's like he's in Mario Party. He's in Mario
basically,
Kart.
they're
He's in.
they're
It's like
treating they're treating Donkey Kong like Capcom does Dark
Mega
Stalkers.
Man
Oh, here's this Morrigan
or Mega
skin.
Man. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
That's
oh yeah, it
true.
is like Darkstalkers. But
Yeah,
like, yes, because
mm,
you see the unfairness. You definitely see the grand unfairness because, and I do feel like yes, like it is time for more interest into Donkey Kong. It really is.
Yeah. He has again, like y'all said, he has a likable cast of supporting characters. He has interesting enemies, right? King K. Rool is is like, he's obviously not gonna be Bowser, but it's the same. Like, it's like he's that equivalent in the Donkey Kong world. Like,
There's
just do it.
okay, so with Donkey Kong, man, I mean, I think about it. I mean, for me, they probably just don't know what to do with them.
That
Or
too.
yeah, they did stuff. Jungle Beat worked because Jungle Beat was fire, man. And not only that, but like Donkey Kong has like an like there's nobody that looks like King K. Rool. There's nobody that looks
Mm,
like the alligators, the barrels, the barrels full of bananas. There's nobody thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's
mm.
like, do you even have anybody who can take on that personality and cause it to translate in today's time? Like the team from Mario Odyssey. That team probably has been there for some years. You
That's
need
what I'm
to
saying.
really,
Let the Odyssey team work on a Donkey Kong game. Let the whoever did Super Mario Brothers Wonder work on a Donkey Kong game, because that game is extremely fun.
yeah, yeah.
I also think, due to the transition of the ages, like, because, look how we speak so highly of this product. I do feel like maybe to a certain extent that younger audiences who are, primary Nintendo consumers now don't have this knowledge.
Mm,
So even like this HD remaster that's coming out on the Switch, I
hmm
think that's them trying to play it safe of like, okay, we want more people to be interested in this, but we don't want to exhaust ourselves with a potential failure. So
mm.
we're going to test the waters. We're going to release this HD remaster. We know you watched the movie because we've seen the streaming numbers. You wanted something Donkey
Boy.
Kong, so here. And I
hmm
do feel like that is a cool, I would say, middle ground of playing it safe.
hmm
Now, I think depending on how well this game does, they will decide, okay, is this something that we want to move forward with? Because I do feel like, yes, they might not know what to do with it. See, the thing about it is, Pokemon and Mario has been such a level of, consistency that they know that even if it's trash,
It's
people
gonna
are
do
still going to
numbers.
buy it.
Yeah.
Like, look at an example. I couldn't tell people all the time, Sword and Shield felt like a tech demo to me. Like, you just sold us this because I know you about to sell us something else.
hmm
And, Scarlet and Violet had so many glitches, but then when you look at the numbers, it did great.
It's one of the best selling Pokemon games of the past couple of years, bro. Right?
Yeah. Which
So
is
Uh,
crazy, and you know what that does to the mind. So
yep.
that's how I
What am I
honestly
missing out on?
that's honestly where I feel.
mm,
I feel like this is their experiment for now
mm.
to see where do they go from here.
And I guess while we're
yeah.
on that topic, okay, sorry.
Oh no, because Kirby and Donkey Kong, Kirby's lore is insane. Like when you
Well,
really
that's
think
I
about
was actually going to
it.
bring up Kirby as well.
uh,
Like Kirby, I feel like when I shared this in the group chat of Nintendo sharing their financial briefings, I'm like, Kirby did numbers like from 5 million to 15. That means people were buying
yeah,
the Forgotten Land a lot, to say the least.
yeah,
And
yeah,
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 same thing with Kirby. We get a bunch of remasters, a bunch of remakes of older Kirby games, but we only got one brand new Kirby IP during this entire Switch cycle. A critically reviewed, well-selling game, the first open world Kirby game, and it did well. And it's kind of like, are y'all gonna do more with Kirby? What are we? Is it? We're just gonna keep doing every new time Nintendo has a new console, put them on a launch title, and kind of go about your business.
I also feel like due to Nintendo's party games that
Mm,
they kind of feel like we don't really have to invest in our other properties because, like, for example, Smash Brothers. Oh yeah, here's where you can have all of them and just have fun, and then look how long that rides out.
mm,
So it's kind of like, like how I said, like, they're in your face because you see them a lot from different properties, XYZ. Like, oh, yes, here's Mario Kart. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's this skin for XYZ.
right.
So now it's kind of like, well, the person is in the game, so I played as them, but not really.
Yeah, yeah. Like here's
So
this
they
Kirby
so they
reference.
kind
It's
of do
like,
do that. They kind of do that because and to be honest, like we've seen that from Sony as well, like to a certain extent, like you could understand that they've created like a universe of their characters and they have crossovers.
Hmm.
Like I remember in the Uncharted games, you would find artifacts from the past games from like that Naughty Dog produced. And even in the last Ratchet, when you did this one thing with one weapon, it would warp items from different PlayStation IPs.
Mm.
Like there was one time, like the Jeep from Uncharted came out of nowhere, and it's like it was cool.
Yeah,
It was
of
cool.
course. And you can play
But
Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted 4, which is dope. Like
if it's also come to the point where Nintendo, like you always know that Nintendo feels like they only have to do one and dones. They don't have to be in the consistency race as most people think. They know like, all right, you know what? We're gonna release this one 2 years from now, that one 2 years from now, that one. Oh yeah, it's time to move on.
That's a good point, Tim. I just think it's interesting because especially for our generation, right? Where like we all know, like your parents used to refer to every console you own as a Nintendo, right? Like the Nintendo thumbprint was on everything. They ran things until, the gaming world diversified. And it just seems like, with them kind of coasting to the finish line with the Switch, with them kind of, like you said, every 1 and 2 years putting on an IP, it's just like, Nintendo, you don't want like top dog supremacy anymore. Like y'all are cool being in like your own little
You
universe.
remember that show on called Blue Mountain State?
Yes.
Remember Alex Moran? They asked Alex, "Hey, Alex, you're the star quarterback. What do you want to become?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I just want to go back home and become a gym teacher." Wait, you don't want to go pro? He's like, no. That's too much responsibility. That's how I feel. Nintendo is Alex Moran. Nintendo is here for a good time, and that's it. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. If we never lead the race, we don't ever have to be in front of the hailstorm of critique. I mean, it's understandable. I feel like, again, when I see stuff like that, like, bro, like y'all are clearly still pumping things into this IP. You're doing Princess Peach Showtime, right? You're doing all these things with you dropped another Zelda game within a year of each other. Like clearly you have something in mind with this universe that you guys want to build. It's just you just want to do your own thing. It seems like it's like we're just gonna kind of do it our own thing, not gonna really worry about the numbers or leading the race or whatever the case may be. It's just interesting, right? I think during this time in the industry where, like you said multiple times, Tim, like the bubble has burst of what a AAA game is considered. It's like Nintendo, now's your time to run ahead, get them Switch 2 number pre-order numbers up and just stunt.
But then it also goes back to Joy's point. Like, I feel like especially for them, they are saving their heavy hitters for the next console cycle for them, I would say.